Hey, Captain Ron here. Welcome back to my videos. Recently made a video on how to pass your gyroplane oral exam. Very important. It was about performance and limitations and principles of flight. Very important part. I suggest you watch that several times, because if you can explain to me how I explained it using basic language in the video, then that part of the test would be successful. Now, I can't put enough emphasis on that part one. And I'm going to make several videos, but they're going to be short videos so you can use them as a study guide. So this part two, we're going to talk about certificates and documents and some cross-country, basic cross-country planning. Everything is basic. You try to keep it simple and easy to understand. That's why this whole process works with a positive outcome. So in the previous video on principles of flight, we talked about backside the power curve, rotor blade flap on takeoff, and basically how the rotor blades work. There's a lot of fancy language that goes into the rotor blades flapping in driven sections and driving sections. You don't need to know all that. You want to keep it basic. So just pay attention to that first video and you'll be good to go. Okay, we're going to talk about certificates and documents. And these vary with different ratings. Now, what you need on your person as a pilot, you're going to need, I got it all spelled out here. If you're a private pilot and above, you're going to need a third class medical. That's all you need is a third class. And you're going to obviously need your pilot certificate and a photo ID, which has to be a U.S. driver's license, or it could be a passport. But anyway, these are the documents you need on your person when you're pilot in command of a gyroplane. Now, for a sport pilot, you obviously don't need a medical, but your driver's license, a photo ID, is you need that, plus obviously you need your pilot certificate. Okay, now what do I need in my aircraft? Well, you're going to need a special airworthiness certificate. Now this is, I'm talking about an experimental home built. Now there are gyroplanes out there produced by Autogyro in Germany that make primary categories. Well, the paperwork's going to be different. So we're going to concentrate on just experimental home builds, which are 95% of the gyrocopters and gyroplanes out there today. So this document is issued to you by whoever is the FAA representative, or it could be an FAA personnel that initially inspects your gyroplane. Once you build it, experimental home built, then you have to have it inspected by a designated pilot, designated aircraft representative. They call it DAR. Okay, they issue you this, and it never expires. This is a airworthiness certificate, special airworthiness certificate. And then you also need, and this is the first document you get before you even get the aircraft inspected. You have to have aircraft registration. It's like a license plate on your car. It's an N number, and you have to have this hard copy before you invite the DAR to inspect your gyroplane. Anyway, this document has to be in the aircraft at all times. You also need your weight and balance. And most aircraft manufacturers will produce this, and you just fill it out with the pertinent information relating to your gyroplane. And also, it's going to have operation limitations. This is this is issued to you by the DAR, whoever's inspecting the aircraft. Its operation limitations is basically what you can and what you can't do in your gyroplane. So you need all those documents, and it's best to have it in a little pouch. I keep it in a pouch like this and keep it readily accessible in case you get ramp checked by an FAA. You have to produce all these documents to them. Okay, certificates and documents. Now, as I mentioned, and I'll mention in every video regarding the oral exam, practical test standards. Now, it would really be beneficial to you if you downloaded. These are free. It's on the government website. Download it, and then you can study it and get an idea of what I expect from you, and also what the CFI, whoever's going to do the training, is going to concentrate on, because they have to perform flight training in accordance with this test document. Because when you come to me or another examiner, that's what I expect. So it's a good idea, and all CFIs who are in training should refer to this document continuously as you're in flight training. This happened to be a private pilot, but they come in sport pilots, commercial pilots, CFIs, all ratings. So obviously you want to get the one appropriate to the certificate that you're after. Now, I mentioned in my previous video about where you go to get this information. Well, most all of the information regarding your written test and what you need to know when you come to an examiner is you can obtain that on most any fixed wing, airplane fixed wing online course. But the kicker is you're not going to learn anything about how the gyroplane operates unless you're taught from the instructor that you get your training from. However, there's a website. If you get onto the pra.org website, there's an online course, and it's done by Tim O'Connor, and you get 33 recorded hours for $200. Now, he covers, along with airspace, performance limitations, weather, cross-country, airworthiness requirements, all that. He goes a bit deeper. He uses actually he uses the solo sign-off test that I have on my website. By the way, you can download this. It's aerodynamics and principle of flight. All this information is basically what you're going to be tested on, so you can study this. And Tim O'Connor teaches all this in that 33 hours recorded time, so you'll be fully informed with Tim. So you may want to think of that. Yeah, we're going to touch on cross country now. When you come to me, the practical test standards require you to plan across country. Now, you can use paper charts. I suggest electronic equipment like you can use iFly here, and we can do everything on that, or ForeFlight, or whatever electronic device you want to use. It certainly makes it a lot easier, and we go over airspace, different airspace, and what equipment you need. And like, for instance, on the ground here, it's G airspace, okay? And G airspace goes up to 700 feet, and then it's E airspace. But you've got B airspace and C airspace, so you've got various airspaces, and you want to make sure you go over this with your flight instructor, or an airplane flight instructor is fine too, or online. But and just understand what equipment you need to get permission to enter the airspaces, different airspaces, and how to proceed on the radio, how you talk on the radio, how you get permission. But we're going to have to use 3 airports. We plan from this airport to 2 other airports and then come back to Searcy. Now, we don't have to fly the cross country, but for instance, you're going to have landmarks along the way, points of interest and points where your navigation, the landmarks. We have to fly to the first one, which I suggest is about 5 miles. And once we fly to that one, then we can turn around and come back. And that's the test for your flying ability and making sure you got the right heading, you can stay on course for that distance. And then from that point, we continue to do the flight portion, all the maneuvers that's required. So cross country, when you're mapping it out and you're writing information down, keep it basic. You don't want a lot of information, because in some aircraft you're going to have to use a knee board and put either put your iPad or smaller iPad on your knee and look at it, and you're going to have to refer to this information. So you want to keep it basic. And once you do that, then that's acceptable for the cross country, once you pass all those parameters. Okay, thanks for watching.